Hey, welcome back. It's hour two. Yes, it's me, John Tobacco. I'm the host of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. Joining me for this second hour of bonus time on this Friday, my co-host, managing editor Frank Morano joins me again. And welcome to all of Howie Carr's audience. And
I'm a big fan of Howie Carr. You know, they're in the New England area especially, but really all over the country, there's very few people that cover crime as well as Howie Carr. I really enjoy his commentary, and he's done some great reporting and written some great books. And especially, you know, I'm very interested in organized crime particularly, and nobody does it better than Howie Carr.
Yeah, so if you were tuning in today, expecting to see Howie Carr, I'm sorry. It's Frank and I. And we're usually on right before him, so we're happy to welcome you into our Liquid Lunch Bunch offering for this Friday afternoon. And Frankie, there's so much going on out in the news. And if you weren't tuned in a little earlier, we have our in-house mystic, medium, and sorceress, Elena Servideo Schwinn, with us to tell us what's going on with the energy around us and Newsmax. And we're going to talk about the energy around the country right now, which is really divided. I mean, everywhere you look, Trump's either a racist, a white nationalist. It's like getting worse by the day, Frankie. And the left-wing media is not helping.
Well, you know what? I think that you're right. I think it's not just the left-wing media, though. I think conservative media outlets have also formed their own little echo chambers where you never really hear, you know, with very few exceptions, you never really get exposed to an alternative way of thinking, an alternative points of view. Now, years ago, when we only had 3 channels, and I certainly don't think that was a better time, everyone went to bed watching Ed Sullivan at night, and they woke up reading the same local newspaper, and they saw the same local news when they came home. These days, everyone gets to choose to insulate themselves in a bubble. If you're into politics, you could start your day watching MSNBC, reading the New York Times, then go listen to NPR, and then listen to a whole bunch of liberal blogs or podcasts, and then spend your whole day cruising liberal websites and never get exposed to an alternative point of view. Same thing on the conservative side. If you're not into politics, though, that's the same with sports. Years ago, a 24-hour network devoted to sports is unthinkable. Now, there's so much sports-related content that if you only wanted to hear about sports on your phone, on your radio, on your TV set, on your computer, you can get more than 24 hours worth of content of sports in any given day. So I think that we need to be careful about these bubbles that we're creating for ourselves.
Yeah, and look, I'm not a supporter of any other network except Newsmax, and I feel like Newsmax is a place where, you know, some thoughtful conversation could happen.
Absolutely.
Every so often. And for those of you just joining us on Liquid Lunch for the first time, we try to talk to the purple people, not the people that are all red or all blue, but the people who are practical, common sense people, somewhere in the middle. So that's usually what you hear on our show. Yeah. If you're wondering what you see on the table in front of me, on Liquid Lunch, every so often we have a cocktail. And sometimes we got to get some truth serum into these guests before we get them on to get them to speak the truth. I
am recovering from the open bar at the Manhattan Institute cocktail party last night and the after party that I hosted at a nearby bar. So I am drinking bubbly today. They're not a sponsor, but they should be. I start every Liquid Lunch with a bubbly. Usually it goes with some alcohol as well. But you talk about the great programming here at Newsmax, and you're right on the money. And it's a real honor to always be preceded by Brett Winterble. Brett's been a friend of mine for years. And in my experience, John, radio producers always make the best radio talk show hosts. And I would argue it was certainly true in Brett Winterble's case. And now he is just tearing it up as the host of the Brett Winterble Show here on Newsmax TV every morning in the 2 hours that precede us normally. We're on normally at noon Eastern, and Brett's on from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific. And I think Brett Winterble is with us right now. Brett, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys. Huge fan of the Liquid Lunch. Love John Tobacco. Love Frank Morano. And look, are you kidding me? This is no place I'd rather be than here on a Friday afternoon from behind the blue curtain.
Well, we're behind the purple curtain here in New York. But we got the news that Howie's going to be off, and we're just asking to pick up the slack anywhere we can. And we got some big shoes to fill with the guy who comes after us. And we got some big shoes to fill with the guy who comes before us, Brett Winterble. And thanks for giving us a few minutes today. But what is going on? Joe Biden he limps into the debate late, the way I see it. And now every other day there's another flubberooski from Joe. Is this guy taking himself out of the game?
Look, he looks like he's. I mean, you can't say he's not ready for prime time because he was in prime time at one point. Now he's been sent off to that 12:30 overnight talk show slot. But he still he still has draw. He's got almost 30% in the polls. You say did he get into? I think he got in too early. I really think he should still be sitting it out and let these people make mincemeat out of each other and then come riding in. This whole thing with. What was it that poor kids can do just as well as white kids, and we're going to do facts over truth, or what? Truth over facts. He is Gaffe-tastic. I mean, that's all I can tell you. This guy's remarkable.
So, Brett, if you were to pick a winner, if you were to predict a winner of the Democratic nomination at this point, I know you cited Biden's strength in the polls. Would you think he's still the nominee at this point?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the institutional support. He's got the infrastructure. You have Wall Street, your big ticket donors, that sort of stuff. I just think it's going to be unbelievably funny to see President Trump take on former Vice President Biden, and then some other third-party wacko is going to get in the mix, like a Jill Stein, and it's going to be white septuagenarians all around when this is supposed to be the big change thing inside the Democratic Party, right? They're supposed to be nominating people of color. Joe Biden is pretty close to translucent.
You could see through his teeth. You could see through his hair. Everything is translucent on Biden. And no, Brett, when I agree with you, he may have got in too early. I said he comes limping into the debate, meaning, after everybody's calling Trump a racist for days and weeks, now all of a sudden Joe wants to come in with the white nationalist commentary. And, it kind of, he's the guy who was talking about, how eloquent Barack Obama was, and now he's comparing poor kids to white kids. That kind of fortifies some of the stuff that Cory Booker and Kamala have been saying about him, if you ask me.
Right. Now, here's the thing I would say, right? So I'm not going to give advice to the Democrats, but this is the advice I would give to the Democrats, okay? I would say I would run a more positive messaging than they're running. So they say that the president uses American carnage, right? Oh, American carnage at every turn. What they should say is, no, the president's got it wrong. He needs to understand all of America. He needs to do all this other sort of stuff. Sell it softer instead of selling it like the way I would describe this group of Democrats, say your top 5, your top 7, they're like vandals. They're like tagging. They're trying to tag America and claim turf and say, Kamala was here and Cory was here and Andrew Yang was here. Andrew Yang was here because he left $1,000 for everybody.
I could use that $1,000, Brett. Let's not poo-poo that universal income idea.
But it's just.
Brett,
they need to sell positivity. They're selling like negative negativity.
We're talking to you. You're in the People's Republic of California, and we're eager to get you on today because this week some interesting news happened. Orange County, California, which has always been a hotbed of Republicanism, and California has elected quite a few statewide office holders that have been Republicans, people like Ronald Reagan, Pete Wilson, Richard Nixon came out of California. Orange County officially went blue. Now, we saw New York legislatively officially turn blue back in November for the first time in 50 years. What does the future hold for California politically? Is there any hope for alternative political parties, be they Republican or anything else?
No. It's a one-party state. I mean, that's it. The California Teachers Association came in. They funded all these with the public employees unions. They completely took a wholesale takeover of the party, the Democratic Party, there in the state of California. You had Jerry Brown come in on his 9th term as governor or whatever it was. I mean, he's been governor since the 1830s, for God's sakes. This guy comes in and he sets up what they call the jungle primary, which, guys, is the absolute worst thing you can do. What it is top 2 advance, no matter who the top 2 are. Could be top 2 Democrats advance. There is no no guarantee that an outside party gets to run. You've got rampant voter fraud. And for good measure, let's not forget that producers, and I don't mean the weirdos in Hollywood making the hunt, I mean producers, people that run businesses, people that have investment, real estate, things like that, they're fleeing. The reason why Orange County, which was so conservative, now goes so blue, is the conservatives have left. They've gone to Nevada, they've gone to Arizona, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, right? They're getting out, they're pulling up stakes. So what you have remaining is then either very, very rich people on the coast, you know, your Mark Zuckerbergs and
Your Brett Winterbulls.
and extraordinary. Yeah, right. I'm in the second group. I'm in the working poor. Okay, I'm in the poor category. I work in radio and TV. But I mean, it's you have poor people left behind, and so that's why, because you've got this massive out-migration out here in California, that's why Gavin Newsom throws the doors open for illegal immigrants to come in.
No
right?
doubt.
Because you need replacement, and I don't mean it in the way that the white nationalists say this, but what I'm saying is like demographically, you need to make up for the shortfall with bodies that are in the state taking U-Hauls out of the
That's
state.
interesting.
Fantastic.
Brett, you got to come
the
back.
census counts everybody.
You've got to come back, and don't be afraid to tell people as your show is ending, stay tuned for Liquid Lunch right here on News.
Yeah, and we're always good. But Brett, the next time we got to get you up here in studio, and we can get away from some of our fears about our one-party governments by having a little tequila in the Liquid Lunch studios. And I want to thank you very much. And you can see and hear Brent Winterble every day right before Liquid Lunch. So tune in early, tune in often, and watch these commercials and stay tuned right here. Liquid Lunch is coming back at you right after this.